Hello everybody, Evidence here. So I came home late from work yesterday, and after doing my usual stuff I went online, surfing around YouTube, and after watching a couple of clips I saw that NephilimFree had a live hangout. The 2 last weeks or so, Nephi has made 12 videos, a total of 47 hours of material. That's more than a working week, and the only topic he has touched on, besides that Calvinists are wrong, hello VekL, is the topic of evolution, and that he alone has empirical evidence that the theory is false. What do you think Evan Phillips does with his knowledge, his evidence that the most substantiated theory in the world is false? After all, if you are correct, you are right. The man with the highest IQ in the world works in a bar. Education and credentials aside, enlighten the world, Evan. Write down the evidence on a piece of paper and send it to every college, newspaper, scientist, television company, and serious blog online. If you are correct, we will listen. Heck, you are obligated to humanity to show us we are wrong. 150 years of scientific research out the window. Help us, Nephi. We are on free fall here, and you are our savior. The person who could prove biological evolution false would be a superstar overnight. But who are we kidding here? NephilimFree doesn't do that. He collects a few of his gullible sheeps, young earth creationists, fundamentalists alike, history deniers, flat earthers, people who believe the geocentric worldview, conspiracy theorists, and talks about evolution. Thinks he talks about evolution. I tried to join the hangout, but the room was full, so I started recording instead. To my knowledge, only one person in the room didn't believe in God. All the others just nodded their empty heads to NephilimFree's long diatribes and total bullshit. I dare you to watch the portion of the hangout I recorded. You will hear VekL laughing while the person answers the question VekL just asked. You will hear NephilimFree argue that the book of Genesis is true because God can do what he wants, and much, much more. So, bring your popcorn, grab a cup of coffee, or a sick bag. Let the farce begin.
JJ,
Okay.
Can we start all over again? All right. You made a
All right.
statement that the Bible is wrong. Okay. In Genesis? What about Genesis is wrong?
All right. So, all right. I'll use this example. How about this? A woman being made from a man's rib. The first woman being made from a man's rib. All right.
Okay.
Why is it
Now
wrong?
you're saying that's wrong. Why is it wrong?
Because it is impossible. And okay, I'll explain why it's impossible.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
All right. So in a man's rib, you lack the entire body has certain things that it's comprised of, right? Neurons, and you have cells and nerve endings in all of your entire body, right? Things that a rib lacks, right? So from just the material of a rib, it's impossible to make an entire human being. All right. Was that more up your alley?
Well, you understand, JJ, that if God is God,
Wait, okay.
It wouldn't be a hold on, JJ. Hold on, let me ask you a question. Wait.
Okay.
You understand
Ask me
that
the question.
you understand that if God exists, that it wouldn't be any challenge for him whatsoever to take materials from the earth and organize them into a human being. He could do it
Exactly.
fast, right?
Okay, I'll consider that. Okay, that if God exists, then that is completely possible.
Yeah,
I'll agree.
JJ, I'll say this. I think that if God exists, he would be able to create human beings and make them disappear 100 trillion, billion, zillion Google times a nanosecond while playing chess with 30 billion people and whooping them all at the same time.
I'll agree 100%. I agree
Okay.
100% with that statement.
Okay.
But can you give me evidence of your God existing?
Oh, we can do that.
Scientific evidence. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
But one thing at a time. I mean, you made a statement that that Genesis is wrong, and we're asking you for.
I never attacked the entire book of Genesis.
Okay, but you're talking about this one event, this one aspect of the creation, and you're saying it's wrong. It's impossible for God to take a rib from the man and then create a woman because the body is made of different components and stuff. Well, of course.
Yeah, I just
if he used the same material that he used to make the man for the woman, then why could he not start with just the rib and then use the dirt of the earth, same material they used to make the man, to create a woman?
Well, it doesn't say that he did that.
So because no one has actually seen it, except for probably, well, Adam probably was asleep the whole time, I guess. But just because no one has seen it, that doesn't mean that it's not true. It just means that we can't prove it to you.
But I never even brought up that point. But it never says that he uses the dirt, but that's a completely different part. I just agreed that if God exists, all of that is possible. I agreed with you guys that if God exists, all of that would be completely possible.
Oh, yeah. But we're not going under the assertion that God exists. We're trying to tackle your position that the account in Genesis is wrong. That's a little bit of a different issue.
Right, because without God, those events could not have happened, right?
Okay, but that's a different issue, though.
All right.
That's a different issue. We're not talking about whether or not God exists. We're talking about your claim about Genesis being wrong, about this one aspect of Genesis being wrong. And your only position, again, this is your 5th time saying this. The only way that you can come to the conclusion that you do is because you personally have not seen it, which is
never said that. I've never. You keep strawmanning my argument.
But JJ, you don't have to say those exact words, but that is your conclusion.
Okay, I don't have to say those words, but that's my conclusion. You're strawmanning my argument.
Bearing witness to it because you haven't seen it, because no other scientists have ever been able to see it. Therefore, it is irrational to believe that it actually occurred. And
JJ, let me give you a little piece of information real quick. That you probably find it. I hope you find it interesting. Did you know that the rib is the only bone in the human body that can regenerate? Only one. Now, scientists will sometimes harvest this bone and use the marrow out of it for cancer patients, and they'll grow a new rib. They go back, harvest that one, and take the bone marrow out of it for the cancer patient. See, there's a tissue that coats your rib, and if you remove the rib and you close the tissue up, a surgeon closes up the tissue around the nubbin where he cut off the bone, it'll grow a new rib. If he doesn't close up that tissue, a new rib won't grow over it. Grow back, because ribs grow from the outside in, not the inside out. So this is interesting because you see God says in His Word that He used the bone, the rib from Adam to make Eve. The reason I think that that the only bone in the human body capable of regenerating, if it's removed, is the rib, is because God didn't want Adam to live with a flaw. See, He designed man that way so that when He took that rib from Adam and made Eve, He knew that Adam would grow back a new rib. And Adam wouldn't walk around the rest of his life and say, gee, Lord, I sure wish I had that other rib you took from me. Well, that's the price you pay for having a woman, Adam. Now, I don't think so. No, he grew back another rib. See what I mean? Interesting, huh? Something to think about.
That was why isn't that considered a red herring? No one talks about that. That was irrelevant to the entire conversation. But okay.
Just pointing it out, that's all.
All right. I completely lost track of what we were even talking about. But
well, you were supposedly giving us reasons to believe the Bible is the book of Genesis.
No, okay. But so can I ask you guys for evidence of the existence of God? Can I do that?
What would you consider to be good evidence?
Something that everybody can observe.
Like yourself? Like you?
Like a human
being? Like a human being?
Okay.
Yeah, because I think that everyone here would say that the entire universe itself is evidence God existed because it had to come from somewhere.
Right. Or human being, human intelligence.
Yeah.
Speak.
Okay.
I don't say that. I don't agree with that, but
speaking,
yeah.
intelligence, sentience.
But you're making all these.
That's what I would call circumstantial evidence, because obviously that is not going to convince people by itself that God exists. but I think it's good circumstantial evidence. And here's what I think an example of circumstantial evidence is. You live across the street from somebody, right, but you've never seen them come out of their house. However, you know somebody lives there because every once in a while you see a bag of trash, going there. Let's say it's Monday. There's no bag. There's nothing there in the front lawn. Okay, Tuesday comes around. There's a bag of trash there, and you look up and the door just closes. But you didn't see anyone come in or come out. All you see was the door just closed. Next day comes around, bag of trash is gone again. Now, we didn't see God. We didn't see the person, the neighbor across the street. But because of the activity that's going on at that house or around that house, that's evidence, a circumstantial evidence that somebody lives there. And I think this is the best we have with God. We looked at DNA, creation, and all that other stuff. All these things.
Right, and that's because we can't actually observe God visually. You know, we can't physically test for the existence of God. So we can't put God in a bottle or something. So all we're going to have is, like VekL said, we're going to have circumstantial evidence. We're not going to have tangible evidence of God. In fact, we should not expect to. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so the difference between the example that he just provided and God is that I know that people live in houses because I see that people can live in houses and that it's completely possible, right? It's something that I see every day. It's something that we all witness, right? So based on the fact that I've observed it, that people can observe it, right? People observe it all the time. It is reasonable to believe that. But if nobody has ever observed any of these things, then it is unreasonable to believe that.
Okay, good question. Now, can I ask you a question real quick? Let me ask you a question real quick. You said because people don't universally observe such a thing gives us reason to believe that it's not true. So let me ask you this. We don't observe natural forces, chemistry, for example, to cause matter to organize into complexity in any way. Chemists have been fooling with molecules for 200 years. And some of the best chemists on this planet are young Earth creationists, believe it or not. In fact, the world's 5th most cited scientist on the planet is a chemist. That put chemistry way high on the charts in science when that fact came out that this particular chemist his name is Frank Tour, the 5th most cited scientist on the planet. In other words, scientists, when they write their own papers, they cite his work as a quotation, as evidence for what they're saying. The 5th most cited scientist on the planet is a young Earth creationist chemist, and he says that there's nobody observes any kind of chemistry. No chemist on this planet observes molecules organize themselves into complexity. And he says, if evidence of evolution exists, I want to see it. He's challenged all the evolutionist scientists of the world. Where's the evidence of evolution that the forces of nature and chemistry working together can cause matter to organize itself so that it produces things that are more complex, and this builds into more complexity, and it collects more molecules, collect other molecules, and they build something attached in such a way it becomes more complex. He says that just does not happen. In chemistry, the opposite is the truth. Building molecules is hard as nails for a chemist. He says, I work with molecules. I build molecules for a living. That's what I do. He says, I know how hard it is to build a molecule. He says, so where's this idea that evolutionists have, that molecules naturally organize themselves because of their properties to become more and more complex? So we don't observe that. By your own standard, JJ, you would have to say that's an implausible idea. But that's what evolutionists believe, right?
No, because that's not what So I'll pretend that I'm an evolutionist for this conversation. I never use that term. Okay, but that is the theory of abiogenesis, which is not a complete theory, right? I never hold that as completely true. I hold that as a possibility. No. That's not even something that
Oh, please. That's disingenuous to say, well, I don't necessarily hold to abiogenesis.
It's not a part of evolution. It's not. And we have a lack of evidence.
No,
Okay.
it is. It's the
It's not.
It's the evolution of the cell from inanimate matter. That's what it is. And that if you
No,
don't believe
it's
me,
not.
go
They're
look up
separate theories.
go Google this. Google the term uh, evolution of the cell, and you'll find science papers and books and articles and all kinds of stuff by evolutionist scientists who write articles about their ideas about the evolution of the cell, which is the evolution
And
of
that's
the
not
cell
evolutionary
from
theory.
I
Because
understand that you give it different terms and you separate them, but you believe it though. As a materialistic atheist, you still believe it. So I don't care if you
I,
this argument that well, it's not evolution theory. Good, you know, if that's the truth, if you want to believe that, that's fine. You still believe that though, and you believe that's the
I,
basis of organic life and the existence of yourself. So
why are you telling me what I believe?
so JJ, back to the point. You don't believe as an atheist, as a materialistic evolutionist atheist, you have to believe that nature is the cause for life, and chemistry is it. And yet chemists don't have a clue as to how molecules and the forces of nature
Okay, I
could
don't have
organize
to.
matter.
Okay, can I tell you that there is someone else in this call that also believes in evolution and is a Christian? Now, that does not mean that just because you believe in evolution means that you believe in the theory of abiogenesis. They're
That's
not
crazy.
even.
I'm not the one debating here, man. you go on.
I know. I'm just saying that.
Well, as for that, that's an inconsistency. It's not
Okay.
consistent to be a Christian and believe in evolution.
Well, we've talked about
Alright.
this before, haven't we, Neff? Like, I mean,
Yeah, and
you
it's
agree
true.
with this, I guess.
It's not consistent. So, but nonetheless, you as an atheist are stuck with a physical materialistic
No.
explanation. for
Okay. I never called myself an atheist either. But okay,
Okay.
so let's.
that. Well, you can't believe in
okay.
evolution. Well, what are you saying? You believe that the first cell was puffed into existence by God, maybe, and then evolution took over from there? That's not a very consistent idea either.
Your friend said you're an atheist. You're wondering why he's calling you that. Because
I'm just trying to figure out how does a person who's never seen anything similar to what occurred in Genesis 1, how does that prove that it didn't happen or that it's false?
Never said that. So I said it's unreasonable. I said it's unreasonable to believe. I said that like 12 times, I think.
Look, that's what I'm saying. When you say it's unreasonable to believe, why is it unreasonable to believe?
Because there's a lack of evidence. It could be completely true, and maybe
You see that's what I'm talking about. You are essentially saying because you have never seen it, therefore it didn't happen, or it's unreasonable to believe. That is what you're saying, JJ. You said it's unreasonable to believe, and I asked you why is it unreasonable to believe, and then you said because there's a lack of evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
and then why is there a lack of evidence? Because
we've already given you circumstantial evidence that could be the case. Okay, but you don't accept it.
No, because it's not evidence. Okay, circumstantial evidence is not universal. You can't do that.
Well, evidence is it can be viewed as in a subjective format. Let's just put it that way, because you and I could be both looking at the same thing, but we both have different ideas of how it came to be. Or
I never deal with evidence that's subjective, such as circumstantial evidence. I don't do that, and scientists don't do that, and that's why science.
I think that's what you have as an evolutionist, personally, though.
Right.
I don't think you have any hardcore empirical evidence of evolution that supports evolution.
I try to show you some, but you don't accept it.
We've never seen any strong anatomical differences come about from one type of creature or kind of.
You can see fossils of fish growing legs. I don't know.
Now let me stop you there, JJ. What you're about to refer to right now is what I would call circumstantial evidence, even though personally I disagree with that. But you have not. But what you're doing is you're looking at a fossil, and then you're making this conclusion that because this fossil is buried underneath this fossil or next to this fossil, and because there are similarities between the two, therefore they have a common ancestor. You see what you see? That's exactly what you're doing. But yet you immediately discredit the argument that I give you regarding the circumstantial evidence of man being made from the dust of the earth. You've never seen an animal evolve into another animal.
Yeah, I have.
No, you haven't.
Yeah.
No, you haven't. Not a single one of you evolutionists have ever seen it. You've never seen a cow come from a whale or a whale come from a bear, as Darwin said in his book. Actually, he said because they both open their mouths to engulf fish, therefore they have a common ancestor. You've never seen any of that stuff. All of you've seen is the same thing that the creationists can see: a set of bones buried in a certain sediment of dirt. Next to another set of bones. We both can see that, but we both have different conclusions onto what it is that we're looking at and how it came to be.
Okay. So you keep giving these ridiculous examples and misrepresenting my position, and this is how this entire thing has been going. You guys give these ridiculous examples of whales coming from cows or whatever. I'm trying to explain that never happened. Right?
It's in the origin of species.
JJ, I think what you
not
is you just need to speak. You need to practice some humility here, and just simply say, "I am not convinced that the account in Genesis 1 is true." But here you are trying to make a dogmatic assertion that your position is true, and you haven't been able to substantiate that at all. You keep saying
because it works. Because evolution. No. The people that you call evolutionists make medicine, right? That works, okay? We make vaccines that work.
Hold on, let me address that.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe he's going that route.
They don't use evolution to make medicine, friend.
All right, this guy. That's not true at all.
They don't use evolution to make medicine.
Evolution
and medicine has nothing to do with each other. Truth is, unless creation were true and design were true, you couldn't make medicine. Evolution is not employed in the making of medicine at all.
All right.
None at all. JJ, let me give you an example. You mean to tell me that if I broke my leg and I went to a hospital and I had a choice between an evolutionist and a creationist, both have the same level of intelligence on the area that they're in. You mean to tell me that the evolutionist is a better suited person to fix my broken leg than the creationist?
All right. Well, that's not even.
I think he's saying that the development of modern medicine.
No, it's just a hypothetical.
Let me give you, something to think about, JJ. This is a quotation from Dr. Mark Kirschner, founding chair of the Department of Systems Biology at Harvard Medical School. All right, he is a member of the elite when it comes to the field of medicine. Okay, he is in biology. He says this: in fact, over the last 100 years, almost all of biology has proceeded independent of evolution, except evolutionary biology itself. Molecular biology, biochemistry, physiology have not taken evolution into account at all. So what he's saying when he says that, what he's saying is, he's saying that evolution theory doesn't figure into medical technology, biology, or medicine a zip. It has nothing to do with it. We study things biological. We ain't got to hear the word evolution. We don't have to even know about the theory of evolution to be a doctor, to be a chemist, to be a biologist. It doesn't teach you anything about how anything biological functions. It's only an idea about how those biological things came into existence. It doesn't show you anything about how anything biological operates at all. And so my point is that creating immunities, making drugs, these kinds of things don't take evolution theory into account at all. Contrary to what you might be told by evolutionists, it has absolutely zip to do with evolution theory. Nothing, nada.
Okay. Well, I don't know what quote that's from. So that's kind of besides the point because it is applied to. No. I want a link. I don't know. Can you provide me with the link?
Look for the terms Dr. Mark Kirschner and the words except evolutionary biology. You'll find the quotation. I'm sure.
Right. Well, I just provided you with the link from Berkeley University that talks about the relevance of evolution in medicine.
I've read their whole site. Yeah, I know all about it.
You just disagree with Berkeley because they're...
Yeah, I've looked through it. They're the biggest drug pushers of evolution in the world.
Yeah, okay. So we actually need to understand the evolution of things to deal with viruses, because viruses act just like life, right? That's the whole thing with it. So developing flu vaccines required the knowledge of evolution. I don't know.
No. See, no, the reason, JJ, is that's not true is because the kinds of changes that bacteria experience in developing their immunity to a particular drug that man creates can't be considered evolutionary change. Change has to be, nobody argues that change doesn't occur. Creationists are on board with organisms change. In fact, it's part of creation theory. Creatures produce after their kind, like the book of Genesis says. See? The book of Genesis says creatures produce after their kind. That implies they'll vary, but they'll remain the same kind, the creature always.
Wait, what does that mean?
And so bacterial immunity doesn't produce, when a bacteria gains the ability to be immune to a particular drug, it doesn't change in any kind of evolutionary way. In other words, the change that it experiences doesn't move it one iota in the tiniest increment towards becoming some other kind of living thing. All it does is change some of the molecular factors in the cell related to its biochemical functions, but it doesn't change the structural design of the bacteria in the slightest increment. And that means that it can't be a part of any evolutionary theory because it doesn't support the idea that organisms change over time towards becoming new kinds of creatures, so you can get a Darwinian tree of life. You follow me?
Okay, what is that? What are you referring to when you say kind? That's very, like...
I would say species, originally. I'm going to steal back the term species. Creationists are the ones that coined the term species back in 1820s or 30-something. It means the original created kind. So I would say, what do you mean you have a problem with the term create kind? Because the term kind is just an extrapolation of the word species.
Well, I mean, just because I've heard the word kind used in
I'm
so
being
many
really
different
hard
ways.
on him now, guys. Being really hard on him. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. I've heard the word species all the time. But species is kind. So what do you mean by, why do you have a problem with kind?
I've heard people put kind into, you have your canine kind, which wouldn't be, you wouldn't say you have your canine, so you could have like a canine kind.
But would you agree that there's a cracker kind of food? Or is there no such thing? Okay, well, is there not a dog kind of animal too?
There's no dog kind.
There's not? There's no cracker kind? We can't say that kinds is a legitimate designation for things?
No, because...
No? Well, then wait, you just said crackers can be kind. Crackers can be a kind. Why can't dogs be a kind?
You can't have dog kinds, but...
Is a dog the same kind of creature as an elephant?
It depends on the context. Where are you drawing the lines between what...
You really think so? You really think that a dog can be the same kind of creature as an elephant?
In the fact that they're both mammals, yes, they're both the same kind of animal. They're mammals.
Does that really qualify? Justify calling them a kind though, because they're both mammals? Really,
it depends on where you're drawing the lines. You're not being very clear with your definition.
Do you not think there's enough difference between a dog and an elephant that we could justify calling them a different kind of creature?
If we compared their DNA, we would see that there's not that much of a difference. But you're not drawing the lines.
That didn't answer the question, but that's not exactly true. If we examine their DNA, we'd find, a tremendous amount of difference. Obviously there is, because it's the genome of the organism that defines its features, and the genome of the elephant produces the features of an elephant, and the genome of a dog produces the features of a dog. Obviously they're extremely different. So, but wait a minute. Why do you say have a problem with the word kind? What is it? Are you saying you can't recognize a dog, a cat as a different kind of animal?
Nope. I'm asking.
Really?
What makes a dog?
Can I ask you to please stop using the word kind when you describe everything for the rest of your life, please? Because if you're going to say that you can't recognize the difference between a dog and an elephant as being a different kind of animal, then I would implore you to be consistent in your life and stop using the word kind to describe anything, because by that same standard, you might as well say that you're not intelligent enough to be able to recognize that two things are of different kinds.
Okay, what makes can you list some animals that are the same kind of a dog, like the dog kind? Can you list the animals in that category?
Yeah, dog, wolf, fox, coyote. Domestic dog, wolf, fox, coyote, hyena, dingo.
Okay, now you just
dire wolf.
Because hyenas are more closely related to cats than they are to dogs.
Prove
now,
it.
see, okay, type in hyenas are more, okay, hyenas, here, I got you. Hyena, dog, or cat. You can literally just look it up.
So what is the claim? Because when I look at a hyena, I see a dog. I don't see a cat.
Yeah, you can see what you want, but that doesn't change the fact that
So you're just claiming that they're closer related by your evolutionary theories.
Nope.
I
have a National Geographic link.
I don't care what National Geographic says. What I care about is the evidence they provide.
Wait.
What I care about is the evidence they provide, not their claim, but the evidence. Okay.
Why? There is evidence.
So what I see.
There's evidence.
Oh, their taxonomy is.
Their taxonomy. That's it. It's an evolutionist taxonomy. When I look at a hyena, I see a dog-like creature, and you do.
Hyenas aren't felidae.
Creature.
Let me ask you a question, JJ. When you look at a hyena, does it look more like a dog or a cat?
It looks like a felidae to me, homie. It's a freaking feline.
Does it look more like a dog or a cat?
I would say that it doesn't really look that too much like either of them if you actually knew their anatomy. They don't act like dogs at all in the way that they act.
Oh yes.
No. No, they don't. I can tell you all about hyenas. Boy.
Oh yes, they do. They got packs.
Dude.
They operate in packs.
Wait, cats don't do that. Okay. Are you saying cats don't operate in groups?
Pointing vertically upward. However, unlike other feliforms, they do not wash their faces. They defecate in the same manner as the other carnivora, though they never raise their legs as canids do when urinating.
So,
hyenas mark their territories in their anal glands. A trait also found in vertebrates and mustelids, but not canids and pinnelids.
Behavioral differences is not proof of genetic it's not
nothing
behavioral evidence. Look, you got all kinds of people on this planet, and there's a whole lot of difference in their behaviors. That's not evidence that all of mankind is not related either.
Yeah, if I can just butt in real quick, I haven't really talked this yet.
So my point is this. When anybody looks at a hyena, I can guarantee you, I don't care what you say, they see a creature that looks a whole lot more dog than cat. So the evolutionists can claim that they're more closely related to cats than dogs all they like to, but now they've got to prove it.
But homie,
JJ. I just want to go ahead and say there's about 5 different ways to classify animals and species. According to George, who's one of the most renowned scientists on the earth, who's also an evolutionist. There's ecological, which is based on what they do. There's cohesion, which is based on how they look. Recognition, which is based on how they mate. Biological, which is also based on their genotype. And then morphological, which is based on their anatomical differences. So there's like 5 different ways to classify species. So I don't think it's fair to just use one.
So what anatomical difference is there between a hyena and dog?
Oh yeah. So I'll actually correct myself and say that they behave more like canines, because this is true, and I'm reading it right now.
Okay? I bet they do.
Yeah. Phylogenetically, they are closely related to felines, though. Well, what it says.
Prove that. No, I don't agree with that.
Wikipedia says no.
But the thing is, there has for evolution to be true, there has to be anatomical change, constant anatomical change. There is no anatomical difference between a hyena and a wolf or a collie or a chihuahua.
Wait, yes, there is.
What is it?
Okay, one, their necks are longer. Two,
that's not anatomical. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's morphological.
Female hyenas have penises, for one. I don't know why.
That's not morphological. That's morphological. Both of them have penises. That's not anatomical. What's the anatomical difference between a dog and a hyena?
Okay, their necks being longer doesn't count as anatomical.
That's not an anatomical feature. No, that's not.
Okay.
No,
are you looking for a different limb?
Your neck is longer than mine, probably. So I'm still a human. You're a human. Try again.
Okay. Well, then, with that logic, there's no difference between a whale and a human.
There's a difference between a whale and a cow-like creature.
Tell me the difference.
Anatomical difference.
All right, list me the anatomical.
One has a blowhole, the other one doesn't. One has baleen, the other one doesn't. The list goes on. One has a flute tail, the other one doesn't.
Wait, no.
Goes on and on. Those are anatomical differences. What is the anatomical difference between a hyena and a dog?
Okay, so you want something limbs, right? Is that what we're looking for? Because I guess
limbs would be anatomical, but I mean,
I gave you a penis. Like females don't have penises.
They have penises. Dogs have penises. Dogs have penises.
Female dogs do not have penises.
Genetic mistakes can create things like that. Even human beings.
Wait,
JJ. Even human beings can be born with breasts and penises. That's not an anatomical difference between humans and non-humans.
No.
So
but
I'm
it's
sorry,
bigger
JJ.
because of the estrogen.
Bigger is not anatomical. Bigger is not anatomical, JJ. That's morphological.
Well, I'm taking off. I need to get some sleep. So,
okay.
Okay.
So hey, JJ, I just want to say I have a bigger penis than you, therefore I'm more superior.
What?
Okay.
I'm so sorry. Good night, y'all. Love you. God bless.
Okay, so JJ, anatomical features have to be different for us to believe that one kind of life came from another. Okay, so if we don't find an anatomical difference between a hyena and a dog, then we can't really say that.
But my point is that all hyena females have penises larger than the male's penis. Like I don't know.
Larger is not different. That doesn't give us reason to believe that one's a different kind. I've got a bigger ear than you. You've got a longer neck than me. We're both humans. Boy.
I cannot believe what I'm hearing. I mean, wait. He's trying to say that the anatomical difference because one body part on this creature is bigger than.
No, that it doesn't have that body part. A female dog does not have a penis. That's my point. Why do you guys?
What? It's still a dog.
Right.
Wait, hyenas aren't even classified as dogs. Why do you keep doing that?
But whatever you're talking about, I mean.
So they're all hermaphrodites. Wow. Thanks genetics. Thank mutations.
What? Dude, I don't...
This is crazy. The utter desperation I'm hearing from some of these people, man, it's just insane. I mean, when we talk about anatomical differences, we're talking about something that you can look at and say, all right, this dog is obviously not human.
They touch the ground, man. Like, I don't know what you want.
Are not the same creature, right? There's a complete anatomical difference between the two, and that's what we're talking about.
Right, JJ, what you have to understand about...
I still don't know what hyenas are.
JJ, what you need to understand about evolution theory and the way evolutionists think is this. Evolutionists look at creatures, and because they see visual differences, like shape, size, color, and pattern, they assume relationships over evolutionary time. That's how evolutionists think, okay? And so if an evolutionist sees a difference in the shape of a creature, they assume that the shape is evidence that evolution is occurring, and that's not true.
You were just saying
what we
that
need is
look like dogs.
what we need. I asked for evidence of anatomical difference, though, and none's been given. That's the difference.
The hyenas look like dogs, but that does not mean that they're related.
That's true. They do. And
but
however,
descended from.
Will show me evidence of anatomical change in creatures so we can believe evolution theory.
Wait, but that's not what you were getting at.
Because that's what evolution claims.
No, but you were talking about kinds and how to determine them. and I'm telling you that that word is not clear, and you just showed that that word is not clear.
Neither is the term
they're
species.
not in the same species.
Neither is the same species. That term is not clear either.
Okay. So, but we've just discussed that if you call a hyena in the same kind as a dog, then we run into issues because we don't only have spotted hyenas, we also have brown hyenas, striped hyenas, and aardwolf.
And they're all hyenas, aren't they?
Yes, that's the kind. The hyena is the kind in that context. You just changed
I don't think so. That's what you claim.
Okay. So they're dogs, right?
I would say so.
All right, they're dogs.
Yeah, they have the anatomical features of dog. They got all the same organs in the same location in the body plan as every other dog.
Okay, so a penis is not an organ. I don't know why you...
Yeah, it is.
Okay, well, female dogs do not have penises.
Well, hermaphroditism is a genetic thing that's well attributed to a number of species. Human beings have hermaphroditism as well. So if the creature experienced a mutation shortly after creation, within 1,000 years or something after creation, and this became fixed in their genome, so that the females have both vagina and a penis, they haven't changed kinds. They're now all hermaphrodites.
Okay.
And they're still human.
That's a potential explanation for them. And if a human being, thank you, VekL, if a human being is born with breasts and a penis and testicles, they're still a human. They just got the male part, the reproductive organs of both male and female of their kind.
All right, Neff, could we let Brad chime in right quick? He's been
okay. What are the anatomical differences between a human and a gorilla?
Oh, glad you asked.
Okay.
The olfactory nerve passes through a different bone process. They have a different number of caudal and sacral vertebrae. Human beings have different number of bones in their bodies than chimpanzees. These are anatomical differences. Okay. The morphological differences are that the locking knee joint of a human being doesn't exist in the knee of a chimpanzee. The olfactory nerve is a morphological, not anatomical, the different bone process. They have different numbers of ribs. That's anatomical, not morphological. Okay. They have a different number of bones in the coccyx. That's anatomical, not morphological. Different number of bones in the skull. That's anatomical, not morphological.
Okay.
Okay.
So the difference between you knowing that and me not knowing the difference between a dog and a hyena is that you have more knowledge and you studied this to help your actual argument. But so to argue that, I mean, you haven't actually shown any evidence that hyenas and dogs are anatomically similar. You're just talking about how they look. If we're basing on the
no, you claim they're different. You're the one who has the burden of proof, not me.
Yeah, and he pointed out the dick dudes.
Yeah, what I did was I pointed out evidence. I pointed out that there's DNA. If you look at the DNA, they're more closely related to cats. And I don't know, I could provide you with links, and you ignore them. So how do you?
No, I don't accept that the claim that they're closely related because of genetics. You have to explain to me the evidence in genetics that makes that true. I don't believe that's true.
Can I say something?
All right. So you're just. Do you think but okay.
Yeah. So you haven't been able to substantiate anything you say.
I mean, I'm probably not going to get to. Are any of you guys under the age of 30?
So, if evolution were true, why aren't you able to pwn the crap out of this with real scientific evidence? Have you ever thought about that?
Because social indoctrination and cognitive dissonance. You're not accepting things that I'm telling you.
No, you're not accepting what we're telling you. That's how simple it is.
What do you mean?
You're telling me that evolution produces whales from a dog-like creature, and
all right, keep saying that because you're strawmanning my argument,
and you can't.
You don't know how to argue.
You can't provide evidence of it. You believe that dung beetles came into existence from a creature that wasn't a dung beetle.
You would be kicked out of a debate right now because
you can't provide any evidence of it. You believe that humans came from a lemur-like creature, but you can't provide any scientific evidence of it.
All right.
See, the thing is, we could do this all night and every day for the next 40 years, and you'd never be able to provide a shred of evidence for anything you believe.
All right, you got me, man. You got me.
Well,
the truth is,
I wonder if there's another
evolution theory.
I would like to hear what his original position is, though, because I don't think I've actually got to hear it. I know I've been listening in, but I don't think I've actually officially heard what he believes is evolution.
JJ is an
If
atheist,
JJ
that's
could
pretty much
explain
it.
that a little bit more or extrapolate on that.
Go for it, JJ.
Good point. Good question.
Can I say something?
My position. Well, I'm guessing everyone here is a Christian, right?
Oh, well, Bradley's not a Christian.
Bradley's not.
Yeah, Bradley's on your side.
Yeah, I'd like to go back to what VekL said when you answer the gentleman's question. Let's go back to Genesis. I love that subject, VekL. That's a great question. What in the book of Genesis is wrong? But answer the other gentleman's question. Our friend, who asked the question?
That was me, Neff. I was just asking. I was listening in, and I saw an opening, and I heard him talking, but I just never heard what he believes to be evolution or what he thought of. I just wanted to get his bias on that subject. What's your bias? I mean, what do you really believe evolution creates, produces?
Yeah, let's have you see if you could answer just a man's question, and then let's move it back to this Genesis. And I believe that, JJ, that you reject the Bible not for scientific reasons or logical reasons or anything, but because of the theological implications. Because you don't like the idea of believing that there's a God, so therefore you just automatically believe Genesis is completely wrong, and partly because you believe in evolution theory. So aside from creation and evolution controversy, maybe you could point to something else in the Bible that's not in Genesis that's not correct, besides where it states that, God made everything. You know what I mean? So you can prove the Bible is scientifically or historically incorrect or something. That would be interesting. But please address Just a Man's question, and then let's see if we can take this to other places. I'll be back in about 5
I don't know, dude. I don't actually look into the Bible like that. Yeah, I don't look into the Bible.
No, I wasn't asking about the Bible. I was asking about what's your understanding of evolution. How do you think it comes about? What are the process of it? I'm just asking for your basic knowledge, if you could extrapolate on what you believe evolution is and how it works and so forth. I never did hear that, and I just heard you discussing with these other brothers in Christ. I'm a Christian myself, but I'd like to hear your thoughts and just to see where you're coming from.
All right. So, rather than us coming from, or cows coming from whales or whatever they were saying, the idea is that we have a common ancestor with all species on this planet, much like. No, I don't. All right. Much like you and your cousin have a common ancestor, that type of idea. That over a certain amount of time, right, you branched off from a more basic animal that went into different environments and adapted and had mutations and they underwent some,
Well, hold on. I have one question on mutations, though. I've never seen the only positive mutations are usually positive in a way that would be negative in other aspects of the creature. Usually mutations are like cancer or something of that nature that do damage, or actually a lot of times mutations do nothing at all.
Well, mutations can be, so an example of a mutation could be being, so most people would have developed the gene of being lactose intolerant, right?
Are you a Christian?
Am I a Christian?
Yeah.
No, I'm not a Christian.
So you're an atheist, right?
I could be, I would never.
I believe he was.
Yeah.
Just stop trailing off. Just stay on topic.
Let's see. So, what is it?
I would just like to hear his fleshed out view of what evolution is. I just had questions about it.
So, I think it's called lactose persistent is the opposite of lactose intolerant. Someone would correct me on that, but that is a mutation, right? Being able to consume lactose, right? That would be an example.
So you think Hold on, I just have a question. So you think that has something to do with evolution actually changing over time coming from a single cell and it spread like the tree. So you believe that is a process in some type of way, shape, or form of being able to ingest lactose or not be able to ingest lactose is an evolutionary process. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, that's a small change in mutation. See, if you guys agree that small changes can take place over a small amount of time, then you would have to agree that.
I do agree that micro changes happen. We become babies and old men. You can see it through creation as trees grow from tiny trees to gigantic trees. You know, I see all those things. I see them as micro changes. I see them as a part of evolution, but I don't see it as the overall evolution of changing of a creature's anatomy. I've never seen that in the fossil record. And I supposedly have millions of them, but I see like creatures that look, they'll show me 20, I mean, even through high school. They showed us the film. At the very beginning, it was lightning or something started the first cell, and all the proper chemicals and proteins are in the right position, and lightning or something started it. So to me, it's fallacious from the beginning. If you don't know how something starts and you go on to pontificate on that further and continue on, then you're going off of no knowledge whatsoever. You're going off an idea. It's not real. It's a concept of the mind.
Can I raise something?
So that's an interesting idea that if you don't know about the beginning, you can't talk about what happened. But that has been all of our entire. So you guys agree that the universe was created, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah.
By God.
Okay, so you have scientists who were also Christians, right? Living.
Yeah, there's Christian scientists. Yeah.